It's time for y'all to step into our whiskey confessional. In this segment, we're going to discuss what our No Limit squad had to say, whether it be on social media or right here in the chat. And of course, we would like to see who's bold enough to admit a lot of things, or are they going to blame it on the alcohol? Right. Blame it on the goose. Got you feeling loose.
Damn it.
So on our lovely stream chat on Twitch, sip_1949. Shout out. That's also my nanny. Hi, nanny.
Hey, Nanny.
So she said, self-care to me is remembering that while you are focusing on family, to take time for yourself. Read a good book, look at your favorite movie for the 39th time, take a relaxing bath, and find your calm. With all that's going on in the world today, I start my day with prayer and reading my Bible. I've had my meltdowns, but my faith in God pulls me back in. Talking to my friends and my daughter Jackie and Zane help also.
Oh.
So my nanny is, we're going to have a discussion about this one day, but my nanny is a very Christian woman, strong in her faith, but she's also a very spiritual person in her faith. And what we always talk about, mental health, self-care, it's totally different from other people her age, in her age group. And she's like 70 plus years old. So the way that she understands that mental health is not just something that religion can all take care of. She said you can pray, but you can have your therapist too. And it's always been one of those things that I think has made our relationship even more special, because she knows like she can pray for me and she does all that. She prays for my friends, especially these two, because she loves them like they're her granddaughters as well. But, you know, when we go on trips together, she prays for us. She prays that everything goes well, that we have fun. But she also realizes that self-care and mental health is also important as well. So it's always been one of those lovely balances that I've enjoyed with her. And I definitely told her we got to have a discussion on here with her about religion and all that type of stuff. But yeah, she loves to read. She's the reason why I love to read, hence the name Zane. Anybody's never thought about where it came from. But yeah, I love to read too. I think I read this past week. I think I've read more than I should have, because I'm just, my stress levels have been a lot more higher.
No such thing.
There's no such thing as reading more than you should have.
I know. But I should have been doing stuff. Like I actually had things I needed to do.
Fuck it.
Right.
And that's funny because my therapist also said the same thing Dom said. You know.
So what you're saying is I should be a therapist.
I think you would curse your patients out. You know what?
Never. I'm so compassionate. I don't know what the fuck you're talking
about. Like,
sometimes I feel like this book I read was called Fuck Anxiety. It was by a therapist that made the book. And he's like, I like to curse and I'm not going to apologize for it. He said, this book may not be for everybody, because he does say the F word a lot. It's one of my favorite words. And, you know, I say sometimes to my therapist, I'd be like, fuck all this shit. He'd be like, what? I'd be like, sorry.
I think it's like actually a study that shows like saying curse words releases stress. Like,
fuck.
Like, yeah, proven fact that it releases stress.
I agree that it does release stress. I'm a sailor, so
yeah.
Sailor Moon. Better when I curse. So I'd be like, man, that was a major release.
That is a release. It is. Yeah.
Listen, it's the spice. You just adding spice to the whole sentence when you put that curse word in there. My sister Katrina, she commented on our Facebook page, and she just was saying what self-care means to her personally. And she said, it's taking full care of myself wholly, meaning physically, spiritually, and mentally. So for me, having a healthy balance of these things keep me grounded and helps me function through life better. Getting at least 30 minutes of exercise or more, remembering to honor myself by meditating, and remember my spiritual guides and family in turn, that also helps me with my mental. I also try to remember to love myself no matter what. Sometimes we forget this, and I know I have. And that's a lot of things that you touched on, Dom, where you were saying to forgive yourself and to love yourself more.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true, because I know myself, I'm really bad at being hard on myself. Mm-hmm. Like I do that so much. I'm so down on myself a lot of times because I feel like I should be doing better or be at a different stage, or even like my body image. I don't like my body image, and so I'm so negative a lot of times on myself, and I know it's not healthy, but it was one of those things. You look at yourself in the mirror, and that's not what you want to see, and you're like, ugh, I hate how I look, and it's like, I should find better words for it versus saying I hate how I look or I hate this about myself. And that's been a journey that I've been on for quite some time now, is self-love. And that, I feel like, has been the most difficult journey out of all the mental journeys I've been on. Is that self-love has been the hardest one, like accepting myself, accepting all my flaws, accepting things about myself that I cannot change, all those things. So that one really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, I think it's important that you say it's a journey, right? Like, there's not a small time frame that this is going to be solved in, but it is a journey. There's days that you might feel like, all right, I'm starting to accept myself, and then like there's days where like you feel like you're walking backwards, right? But yeah, I struggle with the same thing, and I'm trying to like look at the positives and look at the fact that I'm still able-bodied and I still have my physicality. I'm still able to do some things, and if I want to do better, I honestly need to do better. Like a lot of the stuff I'm upset about is my fault. Like I had oxtails and rasta pasta yesterday, and I'm like, you talking about you want to lose weight? You ain't acting like it.
I'm with you on that. That is definitely me. I'm like, you want to do better, but here you are eating this pizza anyway.
So delicious.
Going dang well.
That'd be the issue. Like,
But I'm at the point though that I'm like, I'm trying not to overwhelm myself in that, because weight loss is also a journey. So I'm trying not to overwhelm myself where I'm like, I'm going to be so strict. I'm not going to allow myself to, have any kind of pleasures. And then it's like, that's where I feel like you fail, because you're not allowing yourself to, eat that pasta or eat that slice of pizza. Because at the end of the day, you can always do better tomorrow, or try to up your workouts to the next day. So it's like, in that moment, I just give in, but I just know I need to rein myself back in and not stay in that place. And I feel like that's where a lot of people need to learn the balance, because that's a balance too. When you're giving in and when you're, reining it back in, getting that control back. And that's definitely been hard for me as well, is getting that balance going, where it's like, okay, you're trying to get to this point, but you need to know when now you're going overboard. You need to bring it back on in, girl.
Yeah, I think changing our words that we use too, because like if you're dieting, usually we use the words like failure. I ate something I wasn't supposed to eat, right? Cheated. Those words feel like you have to like start all over. But like you said, if I'm using words that are more likely to make me feel good and likely to make me feel like I'm still important, I'm still worthy, you'll be okay with like continuing. So yes, I ate a pizza. Tomorrow I'm going to continue eating healthy, instead of like, oh, I have to start all over because I failed or I cheated. So I think words are really important. We're the first people to hear what we say. And I know that sometimes we think, oh, I don't mean that. I'm just sarcastic. That's just how I talk. But we do believe what we say, especially when we talk about ourselves. So we have to be very cognizant of the words that we use to describe ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, definitely agree with that. Cece, our girl Cece came through, as always. She said, self-care is saying no, maybe a hell no, LOL, and saying it without feeling the need to explain. No one is owed that explanation. It should be a courtesy, but it's often given to soften the blow of no. Forget that. I'm also no longer breaking my neck to text folks within a certain time, nor am I texting or answering the phone if I don't feel like it. Protect your peace and energy at all costs.
Definitely.
Hell no. Hell to the no, to the no. It is. I think that's important to do sometimes, like learning when to say no. Like, I can't do this, and not having to feel like, and that's me. I always feel like if I say no, I feel bad, and I want to explain why I said no, and realizing, no, I could just say no, and I don't have to explain shit. It's because I don't want to. I don't need to. I don't want to do it. If it's going to take away from my peace, and I can't I can't do stuff for others when I'm not gonna be fully into it. Because
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not gonna help whatever they need my help with. I won't be able to do.
I feel
Right.
like that's a problem for a lot of people is saying no. Because there's a lot of times where people try to guilt trip you too, because they know you're going to say no, or if you did say no, they try to guilt trip you to change your mind versus just respecting the fact that you just said no. And I fall into that trap a lot, or because I'm just such a big-hearted and compassionate person, so I always fall into like those little sob stories and all that kind of stuff, where it's like even if I was trying to get rest, and I know I need rest, I will get up and go help that person because I feel bad, because I feel like they need me. I need to get up and I can't say no because they need me, or where people be like, oh, well, I helped you, when you were, and you're like, really? So now we throwing stuff in our faces now. So all the stuff you did for me, now we got to bring it, dig it all back up and throw it in my face because I can't do something in that moment.
Yeah.
So that's, I feel like, a struggle for a lot of people to just say no for various reasons.
Learning when to say no, and also learning when to say yes, right? I think a lot of times, like, our friends and family will be like, hey, need any help? And we'll be like, oh, no. Like, yes, I need help right now.
I don't need your help. Like, I'm good.
That is so mean. I have such a hard time asking for help. Like,
Yeah, I know some stubborn people I'm looking at.
I know you're not talking, ma'am.
Shut your mouth. Hi.
Like, you talking?
I'm talking cold trash. Trash.
Ma'am, you the same way, man, where we gotta like pull it out of you sometimes.
You get me drunk. You get me drunk and I'll tell you everything.
I know Miss E too. A lot of times she
Oh,
does not want to accept no damn help. And we're like,
He's the
you
most
need
stubborn
the
person.
help.
I don't even believe in help.
Whatever.
What does that mean again? What?
It's a pride issue, and I think it's something that's kind of built into Black women. To be honest with you, I feel like we are made to feel ashamed for asking for help. So it took me a long time and a lot of trustworthy people to be like, I trust you to love me enough to help. Because most times it doesn't feel like it. People make you feel ashamed for even asking. I've had people that I call friends, because I'm the type of person, I'm prideful regardless, Sagittarius to the core. But when I ask you for help, it's because I really, really need it. And it's usually not even monetary. I probably would die or be homeless before I ask somebody for money. Like, it's just built in me. And for me to ask you for something as simple as bringing me an egg or giving me a ride because my car broke down, just know the fact that I even asked you probably killed half of my spirit. But when people tell me no, knowing that I know in me that I would never ask you if I didn't need it, a part of me, it makes me even harder. Like, I'm never asking this person again, or I will never. So even the two that we have on live today, me asking them for anything, I'll be damned. And not because they won't do it, it's because they will unconditionally. And it's just like, do I even deserve that? Or why are you two so willing to help me? Because most people aren't. And I cannot compute. I do not understand why you were so willing to help me. It just is not penetrating me. So I need you to back off because I feel very uncomfortable with your help.
There's vulnerability going on.
So basically, what me and Serenity end up doing, we just do it and damn the consequences. Like, she can get mad at one of us. We don't care. It's done. You did it. Boom. Like, at this,
go ahead and do your little rant. We don't care. We ignoring you right now, man.
Oh my God. You should have seen them at my gender reveal. It was so bad.
She said, you didn't even have to do all this if I was going to have a boy. I didn't want all this.
Like, she's really going off, and I'm just like cooking, like whatever. I'm acting like she's not even talking to me.
So they just gonna sit here and act like I'm not sitting here ranting about how I feel about having another boy. And they decided to still do this whole surprise. Like, bitch, you know I wanted a girl. Why are we here?
Right.
I was so ungrateful. It was so like, I want to say uncharacteristic, but I was under a lot of like.
Right.
Yes,
You were pregnant.
Then she comes back later.
You did way better than I thought you were gonna do.
I was hoping I'd get that on video.
Right. I thought she was gonna throw stuff, flip tables. I thought she was gonna curse us out, like everything. I was prepared. That's why I was like, I was like, ma'am, I'm cooking. Like, go on,
But then, I just love when she came back. When she came back and was like, "You guys, I'm sorry for my outburst. I really appreciate everything." I was like, "You act like we gave a shit that you had an outburst."
Right. We were like, "Wait, what outburst?" Like,
right. It's kind of like if when the kids was going off or something like that. We was like,
okay, we didn't really give much credence to it, but we appreciate your apology.
Yeah, you gotta give us a hug.
Like, look at her.
Just gave her a hug. And
I want to say that to just like reflect on how much society has programmed us to think that we are not worthy for help. We are not the same as other women. And for us to even stoop down to ask for help is beneath us because we're used to being workhorses. Right. We're used to being there for everybody.
It's like a sign of weakness.
Everybody's rock. And for us to even think of expecting the same treatment as everybody else takes away from our femininity. Like, you're less than a woman if you're Black and you're asking for assistance. So you know what? I don't want y'all to think I have nothing against gay people. I love y'all, but I ain't gay and I am a woman and I love all my femininity. So therefore, I ain't asking you for shit.
Boom.
Boom.
Period, poo.
I mean, but it's true though. Like, it's always been such a, like, I've always been somebody that's like, I'm gonna get shit done regardless. Like, that's why I used to, when my car would break down or something, I used to be walking whole missions because I'm like, I'm not asking nobody for help. I'm not asking nobody for a ride because a lot of people showed me that I can't ask them for help. Either one, they'll like throw it in your face later on, or two, they will like make you feel bad or something, like, oh, you know, I'm doing you a favor or something. And it's like, golly, like all that, like you couldn't just help me without conditions in place. Like there has to be conditions. And I feel like that's why when like or when Zane helped me, like I feel it makes me feel some kind of way because like he said, I'm not used to having people freely help me with no conditions, no consequences, no stipulations. It's just, they just want to help me. They just want me to be great. So they gonna help me when whatever way, even if it's just to boost my spirits. Like after I graduated and they knew how much how hard I worked for it, he sent me a hoodie. Like I didn't know she was gonna do that, but she did. And then Jazz sent me a face mask and a shirt. Like I for real cried off those things, thug tears, but I tears because I'm not used to people doing nice things for me for no reason, just because they want to know, like show me that they're in my corner. I'm so used to people not being in my corner. Like I'm like, what is this? Like, oh my God, why are you guys doing this to me? Like, stop making me cry, y'all. And it's like he said, it's almost like it's almost like a sign of weakness. You feel like if you have to ask for help, like, oh, maybe I'm not as strong as I thought I was. I thought I had it all, but I don't. And it doesn't help if like people like add on to that insecurity and make it seem like, oh, well, I'm helping you. Like I don't need you, you need me kind of deal. And it's like, what? Like we should be helping each other. And that's why I so freely help anybody. Like I help Zane, Dom, if you ever needed anything, even if we didn't speak in like 3 years and you called me up one day like, bruh, I'm, in a bad place. Can you help me? I'd be like, girl, what's your PayPal, whatever. You need me to ride up there. Like, that's because that's
I'll
just
come to New York.
Right. Even if we need that kind of backup, like who messes with what? We ride. We'll take flight.
Definitely.
I'm right across the street from the airport. Let's go.
With that being said, I think we have time for one more whiskey confessional, and then we're going to
hit the road.
She's sick.
Oh, there's one that was by a male. There wasn't very many guys that kind of reached out about self-care. And this guy is my boyfriend's cousin, and he's like one of the people who like never opens up about anything. So it was kind of surprising that he actually wrote something. Mm-hmm. And he was saying self-care to him is the little time he gets to spend in his man cave gaming the night away, because he's always working. So finding time is precious to him because of that. And I'm like, yeah, that's still self-care, sir. So that's great. Like, yeah. Because, you know, everybody needs an outlet, regardless if it's gaming, reading, whatever. And if that's
whatever you have to do.
Right. And especially like he said, you know, he's a Black male and he's deemed like the head of the household, you know, the strong one, the person that his wife is relying on or his family relying on him. So, you know, that's great that he can find that little outlet to, you know, get de-stressed when he's at home. And it's great that his wife lets him have that time, and she's not one of those people who want to feel like they constantly need to like be there, like where, you know, they need to be the constant focus. So it's great that she's letting him have that that self-care time to, you know, do whatever he needs to do, whether it be gaming, whatever, talking to people on the game and all that good stuff. I was like, do you, bro, do you. That's great.
Definitely. Yeah, I think we need to normalize too, men being able to engage and indulge in self-care, and how we teach our children too. Like, it's important for children to start to learn this now as kids, that they need breaks and they need to do things to fill up their cup. Like, they really will understand that concept if we taught that to them. And then it creates habits that they'll grow older with and they'll use. And it doesn't have to be something that they have a breakdown to experience, right? They already know how to do self-care and what that means and the importance of it.
That's absolutely true, because we kind of touched on that a little bit on the last episode, where we were saying, you know, a lot of times as parents, we don't allow our kids to, you know, have their little meltdowns or have their, you know, issues. Yeah. Because we just, you know, because we ourselves maybe don't want to deal with it because we're stressed. Mm-hmm. So that's a great point to, you know, as parents, to learn how to allow our kids to find their self-care things, or allow them to find how to articulate when they need their break. Mm-hmm. Because maybe we have been down on them a lot or been on their case a lot, and they might not know how to articulate the fact that they feel like you've been really overbearing to them. So, you know, that's a great point, and I feel like that's definitely something I need to work on, is allowing my kids to articulate a little bit more with me when they feel like, you know, you've been really, really, you know, on my case. I need kind of a break from you. Mm-hmm. Or I need a break from whatever's going on. Because as parents, we just see our kids as like, oh, you just freeloading, you're not doing nothing. You're not doing nothing. Right. You're in the room, you're not doing nothing. So that's a very awesome point that I'm glad you actually that you mentioned, because I feel like as parents, we all need to learn how to do a little bit better by our kids, so we're not, you know,
absolutely, especially boys. I think we give girls a little bit more space to express their emotions. But my father always taught me, and I love him to death, but he's old school country. So down here, we just believe that for men, or for, I think he tried to raise me as his girl, but whatever.
Third boy.
What does crying help? And that was his big thing. I can remember, because as a child, I was a little sickly, so I used to be hospitalized quite often. And one of the trips I specifically remember, I felt so sick. And he was there. I will never take that away from him. He was always there. But as I was beginning to cry, he was like, what does crying help in this situation? Like, I understand you don't feel well, but what does crying help? So I built in myself that crying doesn't help anything. And I can see it in myself with them when they start to like kind of whine and be like, I'm like, you're really acting kind of girly right now, and I don't appreciate it. So I need you to just maybe step back just a tad, address your emotions, and realize that right now that you're being super extra. And I don't want them to get into a mode as a whole generation of men that we have now that don't believe in expressing their emotions at all, in the fear of being ridiculed by their mother or ridiculed by women in general.
Or men,
I
right?
want them to have the space, but I really don't want them to be crybabies, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. You know, crying actually does help. If I cry, I feel better.
You do.
It relieves the stress.
And it can lead to a great nap.
Yeah, and it's emotional regulation. Like if I, like babies, if you ever heard a parent say like, oh, let them cry themselves to sleep. You don't gotta always pick the baby up. Like let them cry. They will figure it out. Like they'll feel better. They'll take a nap, whatever. They'll let it go. But for adults, it worked that way for us too. And for our, you know, older kids who are not quite adults, but who could do other things. Crying helps. It does help. And you can still teach them other ways, right? So, I mean, I don't want to say there's a time and a place to cry, but we might want to teach them, like, okay, you don't have to always cry. You can also use your words. You can also, you know, fight back as far as, like, as an activist. You know, like, everything doesn't have to be you just falling down in the corner crying. But, you know, if you do want to go home and cry, and it's also good cry, right? Like, if your child or you're, you know, you're proud, you can cry if you're happy, right? So we don't want to take that away where they're, like, always a blank slate and, like, they never do it.
Cry, what's that?
Like, right, you want to teach them there's a range of emotions.
Yeah.
They do experience all of it. It doesn't matter if they're boy, girl, in between, or whatever.
I think that definitely goes back to teaching your kids how to articulate their feelings. Because maybe they're crying because they don't know how to express the way they're feeling in that moment. So it's just easier just to cry or to whine. So maybe white
like people that are taught they can't talk back will cry. And it's like, well, you don't let them talk back to you. You say you can't, I'm an adult, don't talk back. And it's like, all right, well, they're going to cry.
right.
So, like,
I don't know what else to do.
Yes.
Well,
So before we end,
did you have another point?
No, I was just going to tell Dominique, tell us your website, what's coming out for you on your website, your new shirts before we end.
So you can find me on Instagram at The Self Care Mentor. And my website is DominiqueRobinson.com. So July 1st makes 2 years since I've been blogging and doing all this on social media and bringing awareness to Black mental health. So I'm actually going to be launching some new items. There's going to be some new shirts, some new colors, some new merchandise that you can wear to rep self-care and to promote Black mental health and wellness.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
exciting. Yeah, definitely. I feel like I should give you guys like a code or something like that to use for a discount for all your viewers and whoever else sees this.
Yes,
we are very proud of you and how far you've gotten so far.
Thank you.
We're very proud. We wish you
we are.
We know you're going to be even more successful from here. You know, we just know it.
So awesome. That's all from us today. Thank you for your confessions. Don't forget, if you would like to be featured on the next podcast or got some ideas that we should talk about, go on social media and use hashtag The Whiskey Confessionals and catch us on Twitch Live. I don't know what we're doing next week, though, so we'll figure that out. Until the next time, Confessionals, No Limit Squads, don't do anything we wouldn't do.
Hey, cheers. Cheers to another successful podcast, y'all.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.